Welcome to the Shri Eknathi Bhagavat Satsang. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Datatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we are doing Shri Eknathi Bhagavat and we'll be continuing chapter 2, and we stopped at chapter 2 verse 33. And we stopped in the halfway, but I will read the complete verse for a quick recap and then we'll continue. So, Eknath Bhagavat, chapter 2, verse 33. Kavi said, I believe that for the man whose mind is always agitated by thinking that this worthless body is his own self, the worship of the Lord's lotus feet regularly is the safest course, because through such worship all fear totally disappears, because the Lord is Vishvatman, having all pervading nature. So this was the main verse, and here the sage, the Rishi and the sages are, the sage Kavi is explaining, and we stopped at verse 299. But let me just do a quick recap of the verse 299. The devotee has to surrender to God even his house, his wife and children, and for that matter even his life. This is the complete way of life of Bhagavatas, and this is called the main bhajan, that is devotion. So we understood how important it is to surrender everything that you have. You can't say this is my family, I have my house, I have my job, I have my whatever that you are attached to. Three important aspects, which is people, places and things. So you can't say that any of those things it belongs to you. The moment you have attachment, you can't get devotion to Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan. This is very clearly explained by sage Kavi here. Now, who has asked this question? For a quick recap, King Janaka was praising these sages who arrived, and who's telling the story to whom? Narad Muni is saying the story to Vasudev, Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan's father. So don't forget the genesis. So let us continue. O king, now please listen to the method in which the tendencies of the 11 sense organs are to be turned towards devotion of God. I will tell you briefly. Mind should be used to meditate on the Lord. Ears should be used to listen to the fame of the Lord. Our tongue should be used to repeat God's name. And it should be occupied day and night in description of the good qualities of Lord. Like what we are doing today. Now what are we doing here? We are doing a satsang. We are doing a parayan of this beautiful scripture called Uddhava Gita, which is the last message of Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan to Uddhava. And who is explaining here? Shri Eknathi Maharaj is giving his own explanation on the Uddhava Gita. Now what are we doing? I am reading and you are listening. So this itself becomes the part of the process, a devotional process. Now what is he saying? Mind should meditate on the Lord. Most important. 24/7, the one thing your mind should be focused. Whether you are eating, sleeping, working, doing anything, your dhyan, that is the mind's focus, that's meditation, has to be only on the divine Lord Almighty. Because the way you surrender, what is it? He has given you the job. He has given you this family. His life, your life is because of him. So when we attribute everything to him, then you don't believe that you are doing. You know you're mere a servant unto the lotus feet of the divine Lord. He has blessed you with this life. He has blessed you with this job, and he has blessed you with everything in your life. So most important is we have to feel grateful, thankfulness, and the whole aspect is called surrender. The previous verse was very clear. Please embed that line, that verse in your being and keep it. Whether it is your wife, children, your house, all the possessions has to be surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Even your life is not yours. So don't claim ownership. The most important lesson, especially when you're on the path of devotional service, is to giving up this pride. Pride and ego, that arrogance is very, very important. With ego, you can't attain Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan. We are going to learn a lot of beautiful lessons in the scripture. So let me not jump. So what is he saying? Ears should listen to the fame of the Lord. So are we listening to the fame of the Lord? Of course, yes, we are listening. Then our tongue should be used to repeat God's name. So are we even talking about this great knowledge is imparted to us and is imparting to us? We are studying about it. We are speaking about it. So we have to always sing the praises of the divine Lord. You have to talk about his glories and grandeur. Then, and it should be occupied day and night in description of the good qualities of the Lord. So we have to only talk about how his greatness, his grandeur, his glory all the time. Next, our hands should be used to propitiate the God. By our feet, we should go to the temple. By our nose, we should smell the old leaves of tulsi, which were used for worship of Sri Hari. How beautiful is this? What does it mean? Our hands should be used to propitiate God. So we have to always bow down. We have to worship him. Our feet should go to the temple. Temple is where? Wherever the holy place. It could be a guru, you're visiting a guru, or it could be a Sri Krishna Bhagwan's temple. It is a process. So that is what you have to always seek. Then by our nose, we should smell the old leaves of tulsi. So usually when we go to temple, what does the priest over there do? He, gives that flower, the flowers which is adorned the Lord, and he just does something and he just gives. We accept it as a prasad. So what do you do with that flower? So if you see, I always keep it in, something it's a priceless thing because it's come from the Lord Almighty. Or when we do the, the Paduka Puja, meaning when you do the puja of the holy feet of your Gurudev, those flowers are priceless. And it's called in I don't know the English word, but it is called Nirmalya. Nirmalya means it doesn't ever dry. Means what? It dries, but literally, but it's an essence of the divine Lord in that flowers. So what do? We keep it. We do not throw it in the dustbin. Neither do we, let any feet touch those flowers. It is always given to the devotees as a blessing so they can keep it because it has the essence of the divine Lord. Or the best thing we do is we take those flowers and put it in our plants. It could, whatever the plants you have, you put it in that. Because it is a very power. It's got the essence of the divine Lord in it. So that is how you have to rever it. And then what is being said? So we smell. So you keep it and you understand that's an essence. This was adorned by my Lord. So you always see the essence. You remember it is a blessing. So you keep it with you. And that's your love. Then, which were you? Okay. One who holds with respect on his head the tulsi leaves, and one who sips the sacred water and eats the blessed food from the worship of God is not afraid of the worldly life. How beautiful is that? This is very, very important. So what is it being said? One who holds with respect on the head the tulsi leaf. Have you seen what we do first if somebody offers the flower, especially which is blessed by the Guru? One flower we'll just take and put it in our head. Why is that? It is his grace. It's a representation. It is his blessing. So we adorn it. And then what do? And we keep it aside. Because see, usually people throw the flowers. Even when it's coming from the temple, they just discard it. Because they don't understand the priceless, profound value of that pricelessness. People think, oh, it's just a flower. This is for ordinary people, and if they believe they go to ordinary temple, that's what they do. But see, when you go visit certain holy places, or especially when you have your Gurudev, who's the Lord Almighty himself, anything which is touched by him is carrying his essence. It is priceless. You can't even imagine the kind of blessing that it has. So we rever it. You can't, no money can equate to what that particular, flower or that holy water has. No billions and trillions also will equate to it, because that is Lord Almighty's essence. So here, one who holds with respect on his head the tulsi leaves, and one who sips the sacred water, sips the water. So what we do here, when we do the Paduka Puja, the holy water which is used, the water which is used to wash the feet, the lotus feet of your Gurudev, is treated with reverence. It is the sacred water. You don't even have to go to Ganga or this Kumbh Mela. Everything is in that holy water. So we drink it as what? It's a sacred water. So we sip it every day as a blessing. So that is what we have to. But that level of devotion you need to carry. And then, and eats the blessed food from the worship of God, is not afraid by the worldly life. So anything that your Guru, when you come to meet your Gurudev, wherever, even temple, when you go, it is called the Mahaprasad. The Mahaprasad means it's a blessed food. And especially when receiving it from the hands of the Guru, it has a priceless value. And when you eat it, it's a blessing. You don't know the kind of transformation that comes about, because it is coming from the hands of the divine Lord Almighty. Don't look at your Gurudev as some ordinary mortal. He is not an ordinary human being. I am not talking about this so-called gurus from the material world who call themselves some fancy names and they have fancy appearance. I'm not talking about them. I am talking about the divine masters like Lord Dattatreya. I'm talking about Ramana Maharishi. I'm talking about, Sai Baba. I'm talking about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji. They are very simple people, but they are divinity themselves. So Dattatreya is who? Lord Shri Krishna Bhagavan himself is the supreme master. I'm talking about them. I'm not referring to any material worldly so-called gurus. So when you have this real divinity itself as your Guru Dev, you need to rever it. Anything that he gives is a blessing. You have no idea what it means. So value that. And eats the blessed food from the worship of God, is not afraid of worldly life. So when you eat this as prasad, Maha Prasad, the blessed food, you are not afraid of the worldly life. But why is that many people are still afraid of the worldly life even after having this Maha Prasad? And that means today morning my Guruji did a very beautiful satsang. And in that satsang he was explaining a very important lesson, and that is called faith. How much faith you have in the words of the Divine Lord, that is your Guru. When he's giving you that knowledge and when he's teaching you and he's in your life, you are being afraid of a petty, average, material, worldly, unworthy people in this world. So-called human beings who have no value in your life. And how come you are afraid of them when you have the Lord Almighty with you? This is the biggest question mark you should ask. So are you telling that they are greater than God? So why should you be afraid of them? Because every human being are, especially on the path. So we tend to be so afraid of what people are going to talk about us because I am in spiritual, I have a guru, I'm acknowledging, I'm studying. Why are you afraid? You're not doing anything wrong. On the contrary, you should be so proud about yourself. You know why? Because you're doing all the most beautiful things in the world, which people will not do it. Forget about not doing it. They don't even have the grace because Krishna Bhagavan is not available to everybody. It is not so easy to get Lord Shri Krishna Bhagavan's grace. And today he himself has incarnated and he's there as your guru. When he's teaching you this, why is that you are afraid of your material worldly people around you saying things? This is a very important question that you need to ask. Because when you eat from the hands of the guru, whatever, even one time you have eaten, that itself should transform you. Means it is your faith that is failing there. It is not 99.99% faith. It is 100% faith you need to have in your Gurudev. Understand, Mirabai, when she was asked to drink the poison, she just said, I will drink. My Krishna Bhagavan is there. That poison turned into nectar. But that was her faith. So you think ever your Guru will ever let anything befall his devotees? No. But when such is the case, where is your faith? That utmost faith is extremely important. So do not lose this opportunity, because if you don't have faith, if you cannot have the devotion, how will you even be able to attain Krishna Bhagavan? The devotion will not come. It is not such an easy thing. Though the devotional path is the most easiest one. But it all depends on your faith. As is your faith, so are your experiences. See, understand one thing. With Krishna Bhagavan, till your heart and mind is not 100% pure, you can't even touch him. He's not even going to get near you also. You can't. You're going to learn this in the scripture. What it means to evolve to getting nearer, attaining devotion to Krishna Bhagavan. The love and devotion is a very important aspect, and to Sri Krishna Bhagavan, not some ordinary deities in this world. You can achieve everybody else so easily. Krishna Bhagavan, though, is easily available, but it is your faith that is missing. He's so easily available for those who have the guileless heart. This is what my Guruji taught. He was saying, you don't need to do any sadhana. You don't need to do any meditation. You don't have to do any body, there's hatha yoga and all sorts of things. You don't even have to do pranayama. All that you need to have is a guileless heart. The heart which is full of purity and goodness. The mind which is fully pure. Not some pride, self-conceit, deceit and many other things which we are also going to learn. So it is important, the purity of your heart. The reason why I keep hampering, why I keep repeating, the same words over and over again is because you need to understand. It is the purification that you need to focus. Purifying your heart, purifying your mind, and then surrender to the lotus feet of your Gurudev. That is all is required. So what is the most important word? 4 words describe: absolute faith, complete surrender, unconditional pure love, and exclusive devotion. That is all is required to achieve. He's actually in the palm of your hand, yet he's very far away, because it's the impurities that you have within you is covering it all up. Then he who enjoys increasingly with more and more earnestness and love the devotion to Lord Shri Krishna without forgetting it even for a moment has no bondage of this earthly life. Oh my God, this is exactly what we are doing. What are we doing here? He who enjoys increasingly with more and more earnestness and love. So what is that? That you should put effort. You need to have that earnestness. Oh, I need to attain. I have to achieve. I want to be devoted. I have to be devoted. It's your effort. First is self-effort. You need to show the fire in your belly. Earnestness. How much effort are you putting for him? Initially, it's called a forced devotion. Force means you have to practice it. It's not going to come just like that. So you have to be devoted, you have to practice, you have to develop the devotion. And here what is he saying? More earnestness and love. Love is from your side. God is love. See, God is love. Krishna Bhagwan is the personification of love. He is Athanga Sagar. You can't even match his love. He is ever loving. But what did my Krishna Guruji say? It is what you give is what he will reflect back. So how much love are you giving? He will give it back to you 1,000 times more. So what should you practice? The love here. Earnestness and love. The devotion to Lord Shri Krishna without forgetting it even for a moment. What does it mean? This is something very powerful. The devotion to Lord Shri Krishna. You got to be devoted 24/7 without forgetting it even for a moment. Even for a moment. Just think about your own life. The moment your child comes, are you remembering your Krishna Bhagwan over there? Is that devotion there at that moment in time? Or you are working in your office, are you remembering Krishna Bhagwan? Or you are lost in your material world 24/7. In that you might be listening to satsang say, remove that 2 hours or 2.5 hours in your day, and rest of the time, are you even remembering him constantly? So this is very clear here. Without forgetting it even for a moment. Has no bondage of this earthly life. When you do this, there is no bondage. Nothing exists in this earthly life. He will destroy that bondage also. That is the power of being devoted to Shri Krishna Bhagavan, love and devotion. Next, the fear of sorrow and suffering in the mundane life is the greatest fear. But that also becomes insignificant, mere a trifle. How can it stand before such devotion? How beautiful and how powerful. What is he saying here? The fear of sorrow and suffering in the mundane life is the greatest fear. So every man, every human being has this fear of sorrow and suffering in their material world. See, we are afraid of everything. Oh, what if I don't have a job? What if my child is sick? What somebody's dead in my family? What something happens? Your mind is constantly thinking, what if? You're only thinking, what if something is going to go wrong in your life? But you're not thinking, how beautiful is my life, because Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan is there. What can befall my life? Everything happens at the will of the divine Lord. So just by you thinking about something, you think your life is going to change. Neither can your past nor your present. No, your present can change and your future can change in the way how you live today. Why? Because you have the grace of the Guru. Your Guru alone is the only doorway to attain God realization, number one. Most important thing, when you have a Guru in your life, the thing that you can get is to rewrite your destiny. And he's the only one who can do that for you. But when you have that itself, but if you don't make any effort, what is the point? See, past cannot be changed. But you know what? The past karmas can be destroyed. So that your future life can be very beautiful. And in this life, the prarabdha karma can be cushioned. But are you even worthy of it? Are you even deserving of it? Yes, God gives everybody an opportunity to, go get this transformation. Get this one opportunity to, go towards him. The path is open. You meet a guru. Everything is falling in place. It's not an easy thing at all. It's the greatest privilege. We don't know what we have. The day you lose it, then you understand. Because till you don't value it, you don't know what you have it. Because you need to strive hard. Because it is one opportunity to make all your life, the future lives very beautiful. You have this opportunity right now to destroy the bondage, to destroy all the sorrows or fear or whatever that you have. You can destroy it in one stroke, just with the grace of your Gurudev. But you need to have that level of faith and surrender to him. It is very, very important. It is absolute faith. So what is he saying? The fear of sorrow and suffering in the mundane life is the greatest fear. Every person, the body, the moment you are attached to the body and you believe this is my family, this is my house, this is my job, you're always going to be in fear. The most important word that you first to get to, even in spiritual, the foundation is called absolute fearlessness. And how will that come? When you start believing in what you have, when you start standing up for this knowledge, when you start having the faith in the divine Lord. But just not doing anything doesn't change anything in your life. So the doership lies with you alone. See, the Guru can take the horse to the water, right? The Guru can give you knowledge, the Guru can do everything for you, but he can't, live that knowledge for you. The horse can be taken to the river to, the horse can be taken to the river. The horse has to drink the water. So you have to put your self-effort to rise above. See, it's very beautiful. When you put your one step forward, God comes 10 steps forward. How sweet is that? But if you're not even taking that first step forward, even no God can help you. See, this is one thing which nobody seems to understand. They think magic happens. Magic happens when you put effort, not otherwise. It is same thing, I was talking to someone and this is very beautiful. So today we have to establish our temple. Till we don't go ask for money outside, we need fund. The temple can be established only when we collect the donation. And God will work through us. The universe will work. It's Krishna Bhagavan is going to build his temple. It is not we who have to build it. He will get it done. But we have to put our step in going and asking for it. And when we do our job, God does his job. And we should, one of the most important lesson in Bhagavad Gita is, do not bother about the end result. Your job is to do alone. This is many times my Guruji will constantly keep reminding me. He'll say, Rajma, if somebody is not giving, they're not giving. It's okay. Your job is to just ask. You ask. Where it has to come from is not in your hands. And this is a very beautiful thing he taught me. He said, see, Krishna Bhagavan is establishing his temple. You think you are building it or somebody is going to build it? No, he's getting it built. We have to just do our job. But many a time people have this ego. We can't go. How can we go ask for money? How can we do this? What will happen? Somebody will say something. What happens? What has happened here? You have doubts. You have your mind come in. So how will magic work here? Magic cannot work. We just have to follow, the Guru's instruction. If he says go ask, we have to just ask. We should not be bothered whether somebody says something good, bad, whatever. Let them say, it is their problem. We are not concerned with that. So this lesson is something we have to embed in ourselves. And that is the same goes even for the spiritual progress in your life. You have to put your self-effort. Mind is going to come, Maya is going to play. But if the mind doesn't come or you don't understand how to overcome it, then application of knowledge will never happen, right? How will the knowledge embed within us? The only way for the knowledge to embed within us is when we go through the tests, the obstacles or whatever that comes about. You have to give your exam, no? Without giving an examination, you can't pass. So spirituality is also like that. When you learn, you also have to give the test. How much have the knowledge has been imbibed within you or not? You're going to get tested. And the fears that you have, please understand one very important lesson here. Whatever you fear the most, that fear is what is going to come and stand in front of you. And your Guru is going to see whether you're going to face your fears head on or not. You know what is the greatest freedom? When you face your fears head on. And this is the most beautiful thing. And that is the freedom you will experience once you understand there is nothing to be afraid of in life. We have to be able to face everything in our world. Why should you be afraid of facing your fears? That is the first thing you have to overcome. Because with fear, God cannot coexist. Fear and God cannot coexist at all. Understand this truth. So let us continue. So, how can it stand before such devotion? So what is he saying is that the fear of sorrow and suffering in the mundane life is the greatest fear. But that also becomes insignificant. That also will get destroyed. Just, with the grace of the Guru. But first, you need to show that faith. The lacuna is in your faith. It is nothing to do with the knowledge or the Guru. It is you who have to rise. So, How can it stand before such devotion? How much devotion do you have? That devotion, the question mark is, are you devoted? Devotion is not feeling superfluous. Oh, I am devoted to my Guruji. I am devoted to Krishna Bhagavan. No, 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 no. Devotion has to come from within. Please understand, who is the indweller? He calls himself Antaryami. Krishna Bhagavan is the Antaryami. He is your indweller. He knows what level of devotion you have because he's watching you from within. It is within that you have to go, not what you superfluously say those words. Oh, I love my Guruji. I love Krishna Bhagavan. Mouthing, no. That word I love you should actually have every pore of your being should say those words. When it comes from your mouth, even somebody who doesn't know what love means can experience that love. Such has to be your love. The other person should feel that love, that which you have, the devotion, the love and devotion which you have for your Guru and the God. Somebody else standing there should feel that power of your love. That is the love you need to have, not just mouthing it. Yeah, I'm very devoted. There are a lot of people who come and superfluously say all these false things. Don't fake it. Doesn't work. So, when a person regularly remembers the Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, the birth and the death run away. How can the fears of this worldly life dare to stand before him? Absolutely true. Then, if the fear is standing in front of you, doesn't that tell you that you still are nowhere in devotion? Where is your faith? Why should any fear even stand in front of you? Which means there is a problem with your faith. That is the bottom line. Faith is the most important word. The first word, absolute faith, is missing. Then, where there is love for the devotion to the feet of Sri Hari, there is virtual retirement for this fear. This devotion to God is completely free from any fear. This is our conviction. I don't even have to say anything. It is very obvious. What is he saying? Where there is love for the devotion, where there is love and devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Hari, there is virtual retirement for this fear. No fear will exist, which means what is lacking? Your love and devotion is lacking. Even there is an iota of fear, no love and no faith only. Love and devotion is the last thing. Number one word is called faith. That itself is missing. Fear should never come. Please understand, this is a very important lesson. In the world of spirituality, when you come to God, you cannot have fear. My first 5 years, when I was with my Guruji, my process, rather first 4 years, the first year itself all was about, oh, I'm afraid of everything. People, I don't know how to live in this world. How anything that I do, something is happening. I was afraid. My Guruji said something very beautiful. You need to face your fears head on. I mean, he cryptically said, not directly, but he said, she's full of fears. So every now and then I would talk to him. I'll say, I'm afraid of this. I don't know what to do. But everything that he had asked me to do, I was able to do. So he tested me out. And one very interesting instance, when I had to, in my organization back then, when I was working, there was an injustice that happened with respect to my reviews. And he said, you need to raise it. And he said, please send an email out. Because he wanted to see whether I was afraid to send that email out or I was going to say, no, I can't do it and all that. That was my first test of my fear. And that was the greatest fear I had. What happens if I send this email? I will lose my job. This was my fear. And that too, he said, you have to send it to this person and write this email. Go sit and write. Yeah, initially I did. I was like, what is going to happen? But then I understood, my God is there. Yeah, I did have this fear internally. I'm never going to deny that, because day one of my, in just 2 months up, and my Guruji did this. And he was like, no, you have to send this email. And you cannot tolerate this injustice. You have to always follow the path of truth, because Krishna Bhagavan is all about truth. And I did send an email out. The whole organization, I started getting calls and all sorts of things. But I stood up. You know why? Because my God is there. It was the instruction from his mouth. So that was my first test. Rather, before that, there was other tests. But that was a very important test in my life, because I was fear, oh, what's going to happen? I will lose my job. No, something beautiful came out of that. So this is what it is. Please understand, this world itself is a Maya. And when you do exactly what your Gurudev says, and you can stand up for that, that fear itself gets destroyed. That's what it means. The virtual retirement for this fear. then there's no fear. Nothing will trouble you in life. That was very beautiful. I experienced that beautiful freedom in me. I was not afraid of it. Yes, people later spoke about it, but I had the strength to face. You know why? Nothing touched my body. I was not afraid because I know standing on the path of truth. And speaking truth, I have nothing to be afraid of in this world. And that's the strength you need to bring out. Then, this is our conviction. So, who's saying this? This is said by the sage to King Janaka. This is the most important thing, which is what they're giving that knowledge. Then, you should definitely understand this firm opinion which we hold, for which there is no support of Vedas, science, and mythological books. Finally, it is our assertion that devotion to God is the highest state of mind, which is full of extreme welfare. This is very powerful. I don't even know how beautiful this is. I don't have words to express how beautiful this is. You should definitely understand this firm opinion with which we hold, for which there is no support of Vedas, because Vedas also don't describe this knowledge. It can't give you a proof of this, what they are talking about. The Vedas don't have a proof, because this is the truth. It is Param Satya, the absolute truth this is. And finally, it is our assertion that devotion to the God is the highest state of mind. So what is the highest state of mind? Devotion to God. Devotion to which God? Krishna Bhagwan. Devotion to Krishna Bhagwan is the highest state of mind, which is full of extreme welfare. So when I said God, when they say capital G-O-D, they are talking about Supreme Divine Consciousness, but they are referring to Sri Krishna Bhagwan. And what is he saying? Which is full of extreme welfare. There is only welfare, which means it is only doing good to you. But what do? Oh, we are afraid. Oh, what is somebody going to talk about us? What is somebody going to tell about us? How can I do this? How can I do that? You're constantly living in that state. So where is the freedom first? How can the devotion come to you? It is like having, Ganga water, which my Krishna Guruji will always give this example. Your heart is like that Ganga water, but even adding that one drop of potassium cyanide turns that entire bottle of water as poison. So will you drink that poison? No. So God is not 99.99% faith. It is 100% faith. I know when everybody says, yeah, I do have faith, but if doesn't work. It is absolute faith. There is no buts and ifs here. Yes, I have faith. Absolute. Finish. Conviction. That's all. You don't need anything else. That one faith is what is required. And how do you get that? You have to bring it out. Somebody cannot give it to you from outside. What is that being taught to you? This knowledge. Through this knowledge, it has to embed in your heart. Already see the gurus already give everybody some glimpse of this grace, that magic, why they do that? Only because that faith gets established. That faith has to come in. That's all. That is only one. Everybody gets that little experience so that you can hold on to that to eternity. But what happens? The human being, they want continuous proof of the pudding. Sorry. You don't need, constant proof. You just know it. My Krishna Bhagwan is there with me in the form of my Guruji. He's always taking care of me. That conviction. And I don't have to be afraid of anything. Do you have that? That absolute faith is what is required. And who's saying this? The sages. That is Kavi is saying this to King Janaka. And he's saying there is nobody, no Vedas, scriptures. What is he saying? There is no support for which there is the support of Vedas, science, and mythological books. It's not even mentioned in there. You can't have any support to describe this faith. You can't. But only stories are given. It's through other devotees, how they did, what they did, the sages, and everybody talks about it. That is the conviction that you need to have. And even the Lord Shri, which is all full of extreme. Let us put aside Vedas, sciences, and mythological books. Even Lord Shri Krishna had himself declared that he is bound by devotion. So what is he saying? Forget about all other things. Let's not bother about Vedas, whether it is mentioned or not, mythological books, other scriptures, doesn't matter. Forget about it. The Lord himself has said it. What more proof do you need? That is the question which Kavi is saying. What more do you need? It is coming from the mouth of divine Lord himself, and yet you have doubt. So what kind of devotion do you have? What spirituality are you learning? Ask yourself this question. Very clear. Let us put aside Vedas, sciences, and mythological books. Even Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan had himself declared that he is bound by devotion. I am only bound by the love and devotion of my devotees, nothing else. And what does that require? Guilelessness. And what did the gopis have? This guilelessness. And something that you're going to learn, it is very beautiful as we go along. You're going to learn the truth. This scripture is going to be very hard hitting, because no other scripture can give such a detailed explanation of this truth. And Eknath Maharaj is amazing. I'm so blessed for his grace and my Guruji's grace for having to, learn this and also expound on this. It is the words are of my Guruji's wisdom alone. Without his grace, these words will not even come out of my mouth. And today we are privileged of learning this, and we have to make it our life goal that we need to achieve this love and devotion for Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan. And from this, it is proved that according to the statement of Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan, devotion is the most important. What is the ultimate verdict here? Only through love and devotion can you attain Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan. Nothing else matters. That is the final verdict. So, not only this, but Shri Krishna himself has announced by raising his forearms that I am pleased only by devotion, which means that by devotion, God becomes the servant of the devotee. How sweet and how profound. What is he saying? He's saying simply, not only this, but Shri Krishna himself has announced. Have you learned Bhagavad Gita? How many times has he said there? Only through devotion, love and devotion can you come to me. Rest everything you leave. He's imparted this beautiful knowledge to Arjuna. I'm sure you all have learned Bhagavad Gita, so I don't have to repeat it. By raising his forearms, he gave this four-armed form. He revealed his four-armed form to Arjuna. He gave him the divine vision, and he also revealed his four-armed form. And then what he declared? That I am pleased only by devotion. I am only pleased by devotion, love and devotion, nothing else. Which means that by devotion, God becomes servant of the devotee. In Krishna Leela, Krishna Bhagwan says this very beautifully, and in that he says, I am the servant of my devotees. I am ever ready to serve my devotees. I work in my devotee's home. I do this for my devotee. I do that for my devotee. You're going to learn about it in the future chapters in this scripture. How beautifully he says he's ever ready to go and serve his devotees. He's not thinking about he's Krishna Bhagwan and how can he do those petty jobs. Here we have great people who believe even coming and doing certain tasks is below their dignity. Understand, it is Guru Seva and Guru Bhakti which will give you this God realization, this devotion. First is, do you have the humility is all he's going to test. This is something, again, I'm not saying. These are the words of Eknath Maharaj and Krishna Bhagwan, which you're going to learn in this scripture in a very detailed manner. And most important, also, here you're going to understand the significance of the Guru. Because without the devotion, the faith and surrender and devotion to the Guru, you cannot have God realization. And Krishna Bhagwan is going to give you this knowledge in this scripture. And you know what he says? He says this very beautiful thing. I am the servant of the devotees of my devotees. Means what? I am the servant of my devotees. Those who serve the Guru, I am their servant. Without the grace of the Guru, you can't attain God realization. And Krishna Bhagwan gives this most important knowledge to Uddhava, the significance and importance of a Guru in this world. Without Guru, you can't attain God realization. So when you have a Guru, please revere it. Don't waste this beautiful life. Tomorrow marks the 24th birthday of my Krishna Bhagwan. He is manifested here. And here today in the form of Krishna Guruji. He is here to impart this knowledge. Make use of his life for the rest of this sojourn on this family. For whatever long this body is there. And he is there with us. We have to revere and value his birth to one who doesn't have the birth or death. He is unborn. He doesn't have death, but he is here manifesting. What did we learn? He embodies himself time and again so that he can give us this knowledge and he can uplift those who are fallen, and most important, he is coming here to establish dharma. So be a part of his divine mission and attain your spiritual will. With that, we will stop here and continue from verse 34 tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry to say, tomorrow evening we will not have this satsang. We will continue on Wednesday.
Recording stopped.
Thank you and have a good day and good evening to you all. God bless.
Thank you, Raj.